Welcome to the Bible reading journey, where we are traveling cover to cover from Genesis to Revelation in a year. If you've been here before, welcome back. If you are just joining us, welcome to the journey. And just jump in where we are because it's never too late to start. Lighthouse Ministry is happy to be traveling this road with you. Today we are on day number 46 of the Bible reading journey. Today's reading itinerary is the book of Numbers, chapters 17 through 20. You might want to pause here and first dive into today's reading for yourself. Then join us back here for thoughts about today's journey. Today's journey is about the staff, Red Heifer, and rebellion. As usual, in your text notes is an outline of the book of Numbers to help us along the way. We are in section 2 of the outline today. First, the staff. In response to the people's constant complaining and threats of mutiny against Moses and Aaron, God performed a miracle with Aaron's staff, reconfirming God's choice for leadership in the tabernacle. Yet still, the people complained. God reaffirmed the priest and Levites' special privilege of service, chapter 18, verse 7, describing both their privilege and the responsibility that comes with it. The Red Heifer. A purification ceremony is described using water and the ashes of the sacrifice of a red heifer for the removal of sin, chapter 19:9. We continue to read about the importance of being ceremonially clean or unclean. The rebellion. The people continued to rebel against Moses and Aaron. This time the focus was lack of water. Moses and Aaron were told by God how to handle their demands for water by speaking to the rock in the presence of all the people. Instead, Moses shouted at the people and struck the rock twice with the staff. Therefore, God punished Moses and Aaron for rebelling too. They will not enter the promised land. Chapter 20, verse 24 says, "Because the two of you rebelled against my instructions concerning the water at Meribah." He further explained the consequence in chapter 20, verse 12, was because you did not trust me enough to demonstrate my holiness to the people of Israel. Following these rebellions, Israel had a conflict with a neighboring land that required the Israelites to again turn around in a new direction. These rebellions are also sandwiched between the death of Moses' sister, Miriam, and the death of Moses' brother, Aaron. Let's take a moment to reflect on the message found in chapter 20. When our eyes are fixed on man and the situation, we see that Moses was completely justified to shout and strike the rock. Moses devoted his life to serving these people for his God. Yet he constantly received blame, complaints, criticism, and even attempted mutiny from them. He climbed Mount Sinai multiple times to get directions for them from the Lord, staying up there for 40 days twice because the people worshiped the golden calf the first time he went. He intervened on their behalf numerous times, petitioning God for their forgiveness. Then, when he can finally see the promised land, they are forced to go back into the wilderness because of the people's disobedience and distrust to God. On top of that, his sister had just passed away, and the people are still complaining and now blaming him for the lack of water. When it was actually their fault that they weren't in the promised land by now. It seems Moses had every right to be angry and bitter. at least when our eyes are fixed on man and the situation. Now, let's fix our eyes on our Lord, not on man or situation. When our eyes are fixed on our Lord, we see God is patient and forgiving time and time again, even though he would be more than justified if he was not. We see that at first, Moses had his eyes fixed on God. When the people and the situation were against him, he turned away from the people and he turned humbly toward God. Chapter 20, verse 6. We see Moses given an opportunity to show all the people the power and glory of God, to be his representative by bringing life-giving water from a rock by just a word. We see in that vital moment when all eyes are looking at God's representative, Moses takes his eyes off God and onto people and situations. He chooses to react his way instead of God's way. As God's chosen leader, it is critical that he keeps his eyes focused on God, not the chaos. Thought of the day comes from Hebrews 12, verse 1 and 2. Let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith. Our memory verse of the day comes from Psalm 123:1, and it's the NIV translation. I lift up my eyes to you who sit enthroned in heaven. The text notes contain information on how to find us at YouTube, Facebook, and email. Happy travels today. See you next time. This is Lisa at Lighthouse. God bless.